and welcome back to WGBH's Drama After Dark, our live after show, where tonight we're talking about episode 7 of Sanditon. I'm Jackie Bruley, as always joined by Andrea Willanen.
Hello.
Delightful co-host. And tonight we have a very special guest, Erin Delaney of Masterpiece.
Hello.
Back on our couch.
Yay.
Thank you for coming back and hanging out with us again.
No problem. I love this show.
Oh,
thank you.
Well, we're going to kick things off in the way we know how, which is with this speed recap.
Yes.
And unfortunately, it is my duty to do the speed recap tonight, so that's a little tough, but I'll make it work.
You got this, Bruley.
All right.
Tell me when.
Go. I gotta be honest, this episode has a lot going on. Lady D is on her deathbed, prompting Clara to spill the tea to Esther, who in turn tells her nearly dead on about the will, the snake floor shenanigans, and how crappy everyone is. Meanwhile, all of our faves turn up for the regatta, including Susan, who is apparently a pretty big deal, and Sydney's ex, who's here to make the love triangle between Sydney, Stringer, and Charlotte into a quadrilateral. Stringer wins the boat race but loses the heart race. Lady D comes back to life and kicks Clara and Edward to the curb. Babs comes back for Esther, and Georgiana and Arthur become my new favorite friendship.
Yes.
Did I do it?
You totally did it.
Yes!
Yay!
Vindication.
I take that from you. Thank you.
I had a very hard time the last time I did this, and I definitely
true.
didn't do it in the time. So
I'm very proud of you this week. You've done it.
you.
I think you've finally gotten there.
That means a lot, Andrea. Thank you.
It was the new haircut.
That's it.
Yeah.
The hair. Gotta lean into that.
Now, you mentioned it a little bit, but I want to go into our favorite moments now.
Yes.
And I'm going to kick this off by saying my favorite moment has to be the I'm going to show you how to row just so we can make sure the boat is balanced correctly scene. I'm not going to lie, that has to be so far the most romantic scene I've seen in this show.
Look.
You go to the dance, you go to the balls, all this stuff, but as soon as you get on a boat, I'm like, yeah, okay.
A boat is inherently romantic.
It is.
And that is particularly romantic. You're
Yes.
right. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't know if the balancing is true, but it worked from a romance standpoint for sure.
And it was a great excuse because, as we learned, Charlotte did not know that a boat had to or had to not be balanced.
Yeah,
So-
she didn't know any better.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's like my favorite trope in a rom-com when the guy is like, I'm gonna teach you a new skill, baby, and the way I'm gonna teach you is to like stand really close to you and put my hands on you in a way that's like a little forward, but like not so much that it's too much.
Definitely forward for this era.
For this era, that was a lot. That torso grab. Whoo boy.
As we said before, it was probably close to second base in this era.
Yeah,
You know.
it was a lot. Speaking of a lot, can we talk about Crow and in the boat, his like drunk steering into the riverbank?
Yes.
I love that guy. I know he's kind of a jerk, but he's so funny that I kind of don't mind.
But we do have a little bit of uncertainty about
Yes.
the motive.
Exactly.
Was he trying to get the other team out? I think that was you, Jackie, who
That's
said
what
that?
I assumed he was
to
doing.
like eliminate one competitor. I thought he was just drunk. And he just couldn't see straight anymore, and he was pulling the ropes.
Just
could be
trust
right.
me.
You
I
could
just
be
love
right.
this character is the kind of guy where we would believe either thing of him, that he could just be like
that's
kind of
true.
wasted and is like, well, here we go.
Or he could have just been, my theory is that Crow was like, you know what? I think I'm done doing this now. Let's crash.
I don't want to be in this boat anymore. Let's go to shore.
Nobody told me there would not be wine on this boat.
Right. I mean, you got to be upfront about these things.
It's true. Also, Lady D rising like a phoenix from the ashes.
She has not disappointed the whole season, and
No.
she was just like on fire with those lines as she came back from the dead.
Can I have two related favorite sub moments?
Of course.
Yes,
Around
please.
the okay. I love the opening, right? Because at the end of the previous episode,
Yes.
Charlotte's devastated because, Mrs. Campion has shown up. We're devastated on her behalf, and the episode opens with her solemnly looking miserable. And then you realize she's just kind of randomly staring at Lady D on her deathbed. And what I love is she exits, right? She goes out, and there is everybody who matters in the town just hanging out, waiting to see if Lady D
she's
is
gonna
going
make
to
it.
die. And then also, I just love, and I'm sorry if I'm taking a favorite moment away from one of you, but
No, please.
I love Esther.
yes.
When she talks to Lady D, she spills her guts. And, that was a difficult scene to play. I think she totally pulled it off. Like, I believed that she would just, not tattling because she doesn't think Lady D is conscious, but just, like, spill it.
Yeah.
She did such a wonderful job.
She might be like, not only just like my favorite character on this show, which I think I've made pretty clear because I'm obsessed with her, but maybe in a drama in recent memory. Like, she's got so much range, she's got so much going on. I'm obsessed with Esther, what can I say?
I think also for me, for your favorite scene where she's talking to Lady D, I mentioned this while we were sitting here watching it again, and I love that scene because it's filmed very much like, it's set up to look very much like a Renaissance painting, I feel. And I think it's absolutely beautiful. But then, again, the other moment I loved with Esther this episode was when she is talking with Babs, right?
Yeah, he comes back for her.
Yeah.
Oh. I mean, this character, when we first met him, I did not think he had the depth to put together that weird conversation with drunk Edward and realize what's going on enough to be like, oh, she's been like gaslit and abused for so long that she doesn't know who she is anymore, and like, I need to go be supportive of her and like not expect anything from her.
Yes.
What?
Just a sign of just a nice guy.
Yeah.
Just a great guy. And there's a shortage of those in this town.
Yeah.
Just a solid nice guy.
It's another scene that perhaps might not have happened in 1820 or whatever, whenever this is set, but I love it. I love it. I love him. I love them. They're great.
They're great. Well, hopefully we'll see more next episode. I'm looking forward to finding out
I will not say
where they're going. Thank you, I appreciate that. Now, speaking of our favorite moments, we want to know, of course, what your favorite moments are out there in internet land. So you can always put them on Facebook, on Twitter, using the hashtag #DramaAfterDark, or in the comments underneath this post, or on YouTube, anywhere. Zach is assiduously looking through all of those right now. And in fact, he actually put some up already. I can see the social phone updating. So we have on Facebook, Julia McNeil says, amazing episode. Completely agree.
Hard
we had a
agree on
great time
that one.
tonight. Stacy Hyde says, can we please punch Eliza? Violence is not the answer, Stacy, but if she joined me in the ring in a fair fight, yes, I would hit her.
In general, let's just agree to dislike her for now,
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of Eliza.
personally.
I think that's fair.
Yes.
I think we've been invited to do so, and we
Yes.
should proceed.
Yes.
Thank
I love that. Now, speaking of my personal favorite, we have at Callie Kronberg saying, during episode 1, if you would have told me Esther would become one of my favorite characters, I would have called you a liar, and now look at what we've done. Hashtag Sanditon PBS. Yes. Agree, obviously. And one more relevant tweet that I will read right now. At Handbag Baby says, this is straight out of the Notebook, and I'm not mad. We just need swans and rain. Yeah, a boat scene. Romantic and adorable.
Who doesn't love a boat scene?
Yeah, come on. Now, we want to hear your favorite moments. We also have a Twitter poll going right now for something that we're going to talk about a little bit later in the episode. And that Twitter poll is asking the question, should Charlotte go all in on SIDNEY? So please vote. I will be checking that periodically throughout the night. So don't make your voice heard out there.
And now we actually want to do a quick little interview for the fans out
Alrighty.
there who might not remember you from our season on Poldark.
Okay.
Yeah.
I believe you have a
Well,
question to start.
so Erin, I'm sure you've been getting these questions a lot because I know my Twitter has been blowing up with this, especially today when we announced that you would be our guest. So the fans want to know, do you have any news for us regarding a potential season 2?
I'm sorry to say I do not have any news. No plans yet for season 2. No plans that I know everybody wants one, and I want one. But no, I have nothing to share, I'm afraid. Sorry.
That's fair. We understand. We're hoping, we will all keep our fingers crossed that we will get some news soon. And then the other question that everyone is asking us all the time is, what can people do if they want to show their support for the show, if they want to like make their voices heard about how much they love Sanditon?
Yeah, it's a good question, and I think sort of the commonsensical things. I mean, you know, what everybody's doing right now, they're tweeting up a storm, they're making it clear how much they love the show, they're watching the show. So I guess tell your friends to watch the show and love the show. I think that's the best thing to do, really.
Share it.
Share it.
It's a gift. Share it with
Share
your
it,
friends.
exactly.
Wrap it up in a little bow.
Yeah.
Shove it under their door. Maybe don't do that. That's kind of creepy. But bring them to your house and make them
Yeah.
watch it.
Have a Sanditon party.
Because there are plenty of places to watch, even if you know, there are people who somehow, inexplicably, did not start watching on January 12th. I don't know why.
Yeah. Missed
but
the boat.
there are a number of places to watch, so they can catch up.
And if you're here in Boston, you can watch on the WGBH Passport streaming service. But every station that has PBS has Passport. So if you are a member anywhere in the country, you can find a way to watch Sanditon.
Awesome. And then we also had a question that we saw online
Yes.
that was about asking, there's some moments people have noticed in here that don't match up exactly with the original script from the series that they found somewhere on the internet.
Yeah.
And we were curious, you obviously have much larger breadth of experience than we do in working on programming similar to this. We're curious if you know from your experience if when people tend to make corrections on the fly like that. I will make a general answer, not just specifically about Sanditon, because it's very common. We will read early drafts of scripts at Masterpiece that are, script number 1 point something, and then rewrites will happen for all kinds of reasons. And then there'll be something finally that's a shooting script, which is several iterations down, and then off they'll go into the field. But everything and anything can happen on a set. So practical things like, oh dear, it rained and we were going to shoot the scene this way, but now we've got to change, and that means this line has to be changed to this, and that means this other line has to change. Sometimes I believe an actor might say, could I say it this way?
Oh,
and
interesting.
the director will generally, if it works and the writer doesn't mind, they'll say sure. So it evolves a little bit. We don't consider the final script the script until somebody has actually watched, in fact, the final edited show.
Oh.
Because that's another pass. After it's been shot, then it's edited and things change again. So then we finally have something called the post-production script, and we know that that is what is actually in the show.
Fascinating.
Oh,
that's
so
really cool.
Thank you. And thank you to at OutlanderFan_NL. Yes, that is your Twitter handle. I was like, I can't read my own handwriting. That's not great. For sending that great question about the scripts and how they change. And if you have other questions for Erin, please drop them online, and we will ask her as the night progresses. But first,
I think it's time for the hot take debate.
it is time for the hot take debate.
Oh boy.
Woo! I love the hot take debate. I don't know why. It's spicy. I think that's why. So as we mentioned earlier, tonight's question: should Charlotte go all in on dating Sydney? We're trying to, be with Sydney. And as our special guest, we'll let you take the first crack at this question.
I am going to say no.
Ooh.
I actually, to broaden it out a little bit, I don't think she should go all in on dating anyone. She is 18 years old. She's fresh off the farm. Now I know a number of 18-year-olds, so maybe I'm biased, but I think 18's way too young. And I know it was a long time ago, and if you wanted to help perpetuate the species, lifespans were not that long.
Especially if you're from a farm.
Yeah, you had to get cracking early, and I totally get all that. But I feel Charlotte is extremely naive. She's wise, she's book read, but she's a naive young woman, and she needs to just take a breath, think, continue getting to know people maybe, Sydney and maybe young Stringer. And
Just saying.
Yeah, just saying. I love them both, but I just feel she should take some time and not be impulsive. I sense disagreement.
Well, I feel like I must disagree with you a little bit, just for the sake of the debate. But also, I think the thing that I find really interesting about Charlotte is that for the first, I think maybe 4 or 5 episodes, she's very even as she's feeling herself starting to be maybe a little attracted to Sydney, she's like, no, marriage, no. I'm here to hang out in Sanditon with my new friends, the Parkers, and their kids, and read books. I am not interested in coupling up. This is my thing. So I feel like as she's starting to realize that she maybe wants more, far be it from me to say, no, go back to the way you were before. Especially because, to our knowledge, this is the first time she's starting to really feel those feelings, and I feel like if it's something special, you should jump on it, girl. Get after it. Go get your man. And also, I just think that it's easy to say, like, she should focus on her own stuff and not try to find love. And, like, I'm so sad of seeing heroines, like, not end up with love just because we're like, no, strong women don't need men. And that's true, 100%. But I also think that you can enjoy relationships. And she should go for it if she wants that.
I'm just going to say that that's coming from somebody who married their second
fair point.
boyfriend.
Fair point.
That's fair. Yeah,
right.
that's all right. That's a good point. Andrea.
Bias.
Yeah. From somebody
works
who
for me, I don't know.
somebody who didn't marry the first person they met when they moved to the big city.
Sure.
I'm gonna say I do think that I'm gonna find the middle ground between both of you.
Oh.
Which is that I think that she shouldn't decide on who she's going to marry, but I think that she can also, you know, I feel like she can say her intentions to Sydney in the fact of her saying something like, you know, I would like to get to know you better. I think she should be upfront, is basically what I'm saying.
Okay, I would agree with that. And he has turned around a little bit in recent episodes.
As we saw in the end of this episode,
Yes.
he's presented his
Yes.
side of the argument.
Right.
It's now her turn to go.
Okay, she can proceed with caution.
Exactly.
How's
I
that?
like that.
Yes.
Proceed with caution.
And to your point, if I had married who I was dating at 18, we'd all be in a lot of trouble right now.
Your alternate history frightens me, and
Yes. Yes.
yes, fair enough.
It was Donald Trump. No, I'm kidding.
Oh God, Andrea, Lord. All right, so we're gonna go and check and see what you have said so far, friends on the internet. So I'm gonna look at our poll. Ooh. Okay, this is something interesting. When I looked at this earlier, we were in the 66%, 100% yes, thumbs up category, and it has shifted a little bit downwards. So it's now 65% say yes, and 35% say no, exclamation point,
Wow.
thumbs down.
Yeah. Your hot take wasn't as hot as I thought it might be. It was still
Or
it was still a
so
good take.
spicy that people were like, give me more of that.
Yeah, they
I'm
want
changing
more.
my opinion.
That is.
Well, there's always room to change your mind.
I think actually everyone is remembering themselves at 18 and going and realizing, uh-oh.
What have I done? Well, we still want to know what you think about this, so I will keep checking this throughout the show tonight and see if there's any changes. But right now, that's where we're at.
I like it.
It's closer
All right.
margins than I thought, actually.
Yeah.
I was expecting like a full sweep because people are so pro-Sid Lot. Hashtag Sid Lot.
Hashtag Sid
Yeah.
Lot. Well,
They
hashtag string
are
lot.
adorable. Let's say
Yes.
they are totally adorable together. I love
They're
them
cute.
together.
I'm just going to say I need Tony. I'm going to go home to my boyfriend and say, I need you to teach me how to row a boat. And he's going to be like, I don't know how to row a
Tony,
boat.
I was going to say, I don't think he knows how to row a boat. Sorry, Tony.
You're the one who grew up in the country. Teach me how to row a boat. It won't be the same.
Oh, Zach tells me that we're doing thumbs up or thumbs down on Facebook, and Stacy Hyde has weighed in with a thumbs up. Thank you, Stacy.
Thank you.
Taken under advisement. We are going to keep looking on here for any questions. We have one little piece of Regatta chatter I'm going to share with you.
Okay.
At Not Rachel, I like that handle a lot actually, says Stringer's dad cheering for him was a heartbursting little
Oh,
moment.
yes.
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 That was excellent.
I loved that.
That was
I was
fantastic.
so happy.
Especially with all the strife that they've had here and there
Yeah.
throughout the episode. I think
Yes.
seeing that him be so proud of his son was.
It was really heartwarming.
Yeah.
Plus the major injury in
I
episode
know.
3.
I know.
Oh gosh,
Yes.
that was pretty scary.
Yeah.
We didn't like that moment.
It's true.
That leads us into the next segment. Sydney Score.
Oh my God, I left mine over there.
You can hold up your hand. You can
Oh,
go.
thank you,
with-
Megan.
Oh,
Oh, Megan's going. We're getting the score papers so that we don't give anything away.
No, it's right in my bag.
There we go.
okay.
I'm not
Everybody
looking.
needs to know.
I won't look. Okay. All right, is everyone ready?
Yes.
3, 2, 1, show them. Andrea will win!
I know. I surprised myself.
Oh, I didn't make mine dark enough. Sorry.
no, you can
It's a 4.
That is such a reversal from you that I think you
I
have to
know.
go first and explain yourself, madam.
Okay. I am a sucker for a romantic scene, as we learned this episode. I am a sucker for somebody coming up front and saying, "Hey, I like you." Like if somebody says that to me, I'm like, "Okay,
Thanks.
tell me more." I don't mind that. And I have to say, Sydney really captivated me in this episode. And now that we know he's not a slave owner, big turnaround for me on that one. As soon as I know somebody doesn't own slaves and they tell me that they like me, I'm into it.
These are the things you need to do to date Andrea. Yeah. 1, don't own slaves.
Yeah.
2, tell her you like her. 3, take her on a boat.
Yeah, done.
There it is.
Ready to date him.
No, take her on a boat and teach her how to row.
Right.
Teach me how to row.
Yes.
I've been, canoeing since childhood, but I don't know how to row a boat, apparently.
There it is. There it is. You heard it here first. Now, you had a 4. Why not a 5?
Well, I think because of that moment when, after the sort of weird Heraclitus, Sydney was clearly trying to just get the conversation over with to sort of spare everybody the angst.
Deflect.
But that was pretty subtle.
Yeah.
And Charlotte was clearly hurt. So then he goes and he tries to apologize, and she's like, please get me out of here. I can't cope with this intense emotionality anymore. And he just kind of doesn't say anything. She's really hurting, and he can't come up with the words. And so I would have been a 5, but I just felt like...
Need a man who can apologize.
Yeah, and apologize like with words that you can hear.
Instead of just staring emotionally at me.
And drawing the attention of all the regatta goers.
Yeah.
How
about you?
That's why I didn't give him the 5 either. And I also, I don't know this is fully intentional, but I don't love keeping 2 different women on the hook, and he does that for a lot of this episode. So, I'm not a huge fan of what's-her-face, Eliza.
Campion.
And I clearly am not a fan because I don't even know her name. She's fine, whatever. But he's clearly putting enough out there that she's come to this tiny weird town to see him race a rowboat with his weird brothers. That's a we're dating thing. Yeah. I'm not gonna go to your boat race. I'm sorry. So that was my issue with Sydney this week. I want him to be 100% on board with everyone, and he did that last scene. Yes, I agree. I like the honesty. I like the forthrightness, but I wanted it earlier.
Okay, that's fair.
I want it all.
Okay. All right. I'm ready for 50%, apparently. Not. I'm like, sure.
Okay.
He's being honest.
Now, speaking of honesty, I'm honestly very excited about our next segment, which is Bye, Bye, Bye.
Yes.
Where we're tonight going to talk about how thrilled we are to say goodbye to 2 of the show's main villains, Esther and Clara. Clara and Edward. My God. Esther, I would quit.
Then it's just me on the couch.
Just you by yourself hanging out.
Yeah. As I said when that happened in this episode, good riddance to bad rubbish.
Indeed.
I am 100% done with them. I feel that we didn't learn enough about Clara. Personally, I wanted to learn a little bit more about her.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I had the same thought. I thought she was fantastic.
I love a schemer.
But she also I feel like she did let enough of her backstory out that I ended up feeling sympathy for her, I have to say.
She's been through it
not
for sure.
A lot, but some.
Yeah. There was some sympathy there. I think for me, the thing that sort of broke me on her was when she made the decision to seduce Edward on the snake floor, as we were discussing.
I mean, if you had the opportunity, that snake floor is so,
I would chase Edward out and be like, hey.
Just dance around on it. Yeah. I think that was sort of my moment for Clara as well. I like her a lot. I think she's a fascinating character, but tying your wagon to Edward is not a great choice. And the best part is that if she had just kept her mouth shut and not gloated, this would not have, it probably would have not ended the way it did.
Why did she do that?
She just had to.
Also, let's just ask, why did she have unprotected sex in 1820? Because now she's going off with her little carpet bag to London.
No prospects.
Yeah.
Right, and possibly pregnant.
A child. Great.
That really worried me a lot. I mean, they're fully clothed. We don't know for sure that they didn't take some measures, but it is the 1800s. That is not
many
very
measures.
Effective. Those measures.
Right.
Yikes. Yeah. No, that's a really good point too. That was a misstep.
So, to move on to our next segment, though.
Yes.
To happier times.
We're going to our next segment that we're calling In the Field.
With Megan Smith-Smythe.
Woo! So we had so much fun last time with our remote correspondent, Megan Smith, that we have brought her back again. Megan Smith, are you in the field with us?
Hi, Jackie. I'm here. I'm back.
Yay! Delightful.
Happy Regatta Day. This is a regatta flag.
Well, Megan, we're hoping that tonight you can tell us a little bit about the sport of crew or rowing and what's the deal with that.
Yeah, so Jackie, I've never done rowing before, I'll confess. I did do cricket, but I haven't done rowing. But rowing is a very old, historic, very popular sport. It actually traces all the way back to ancient Egypt. Surprisingly, there's evidence that the Egyptians did rowing, so in good company. Cool. Rowing as we know it today originated in 17th century England, which makes sense why we're seeing it in Sanditon. The first regattas were held on the historic Thames in London. And today it's like a really popular sport. It's one of the oldest Olympic sports. The first event was in 1900. They competed. And the general gist is what we saw in Sanditon. It's a bunch of people in a boat rowing as fast as they can. It can be anywhere from 1 to 8 people in a boat. And you saw tonight we had a 2 rowers and one guy that was just kind of sitting. We weren't really sure what he was doing. Arthur and Crow. Funny term for this. Are you ready for it, Jackie?
I'm prepared, Megan.
Okay.
Lay it on me.
They are called coxswains. Really. And their job is, if you notice, the rowers are actually rowing backwards. The coxswain was facing forward. So he can kind of see, he helps steer and navigate the boat, and he helps yell, he motivates the rowers to, do a better job. So that's rowing. I actually think the regatta was a pretty accurate portrayal of rowing at that time. However, boats today are much more narrow, aerodynamic, longer, but they did a pretty good job. Although don't be a coxswain while you're drunk. Not a good idea. Not good.
That does seem quite dangerous, Megan.
Yes,
now, if the people out there want to catch some crew, live in living color,
yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about some of the bigger regattas that they could maybe go see?
Yes. So all our fans out in England, there's quite a few big regattas in England. Many of them are on the Thames. There's the Henley Royal Regatta, which is in a town called Henley on the Thames. There's the boat race, which is when Oxford competes against Cambridge. That's also on the Thames in London. But for all the fans that are in Boston, the Head of the Charles Regatta happens every October on the Charles River right out here in our backyard in Boston, Cambridge. It's the largest 2-day regatta in the world. 11,000 athletes come to compete. Wow. And they're from all sorts of teams. They're from high schools, colleges, clubs, and they national teams that represent their country. It's super fun. I've been quite a few times. It's a great fun atmosphere, and it's pretty cool that we get this world-class event right in our backyard. So check it out if you can.
Fascinating. Mm-hmm. Now, one last question for you before we let you go back to your non-correspondent duties. We've recently been hearing a little bit about rowing in the news. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so crew news, quite exciting. If you're following the college admissions scandal that's been kind of unfolding for months now, Operation Varsity Blues, which is kind of the cool, fun name for it, it's, the bunch of celebrities, actresses were paying to get their children into school through, I guess you could say bribery. I don't know, cheating on SATs, whatnot. Lori Loughlin, the famous actress, apparently paid $500,000 to get her daughter into USC by having her pose as a crew member. And apparently it came out this week that they said that she's a coxswain. She had won a bunch of medals, and they went to pretty extreme lengths to try to convince the team that she was really a coxswain, which she is not, by the way. So it's pretty exciting when a sport like this gets in the news. So keep your eye on that story.
Thank you very much, Megan. We really appreciate your assiduous reporting from
Thanks,
the field.
Jackie. This was fun.
See you next time. Now, that was great. I feel like I know so much more about, especially like the Head of the Charles. I did not realize was such a big race.
Yes, yeah. I realize that only because I have to drive past it on my way to work.
Yes, I mean, we drive past it every year, but for some reason in my head I was like, oh, this is just a normal day at the races. Mm-hmm. But I guess not.
No, it's huge. So, as we're wrapping up the show today, we want to talk about
our next segment.
Which I have to throw to you because you love saying it.
if you like this.
It gets goofier every time.
can't help
So
myself.
this week we saw the awesome Lady Susan, who is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters on the show.
she's great.
Yes.
And a lot of her behavior couldn't help remind me of Emma, another Austen novel. And while there are a lot of adaptations of Emma that we've seen over the years, I did want to remind everybody, if you like this, I can't in good conscience recommend it because I have not seen it yet.
Sure.
But the new Emma is coming out. It looks to be absolutely delightful, and I think folks should remember that if they enjoyed Lady Susan this week, they should check that out. And I think we also probably have a recommendation of some sort from Erin that's a little more
Yes, and-
substantive.
And I have to recommend something that isn't an Austen,
That's
even
fine.
though I generally always recommend Austens whenever I can. But we have on Masterpiece a really great series coming up. It's starting April 5th, and it's called World on Fire.
I'm so excited.
And it's, oh, you've heard of it, good.
We have, yes.
It's really amazing. It's an interesting approach. It's World War II is the world that's on fire, and it sort of looks at the lives of ordinary people, and it hits multiple different locations. So we're in, Munich, we're in Paris, we're in
fascinating.
Manchester, England, we're in Warsaw, and we meet all these people and their stories sort of, we follow their stories and they intertwine. It's really, really powerful. I think people are going to love it.
The previews we've seen look absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and the
it's-
cast is bonkers.
The cast is great. Yeah, Helen Hunt, Jonah Howard King, Sean Bean.
Oh my gosh,
And
yeah.
a young Polish actress, and just really, it's so powerful.
Very cool. Well, we'll look forward to that
Not
as well.
Austen-esque at all, but
No, but still a
really
powerful
good
drama.
Yes,
Gotta mix it
exactly.
up occasionally, you know?
Exactly.
So I'm gonna take a look at the comment of the day.
Yeah, let's take a look for
Let's
that.
see what we got here. All right, Okay, oh wow, we've got a lot of comments. All right, I'm gonna read all of these because I love a comment.
Who doesn't?
So on Twitter, we have at Ganny760. Oh, you told me how to pronounce this last time, and I've forgotten. I'm so sorry. My favorite moment was when SIDNEY said his line about being his best self when he was with her. He basically told her that he loves her and allows her to decide for herself what she wants to do.
Thank you, Ganny. Yes.
You're
Juggery.
you're vindicated there.
I'm vindicated.
On Facebook, we have Amy Leipziger, who says, I agree with Erin. Esther's moments of vulnerability rules the episode.
Yes.
Love that.
Yes, that's great.
We have another Esther comment from Melissa, which says, Esther's humanity was touching 3 times in this episode, with Babs at the end, touching and empathetic. Completely agree. Obviously, because I stan her very hard. And we also have a comment from Karen on her favorite scene tonight. Favorite moment, last scene with SIDNEY professing he is his best self. That was clearly a really popular moment for us.
I'm so proud of myself for knowing our audience.
You do. And then we've got one more comment that I'm going to read out from Callie, which says, the supporting characters really add so much to this series.
Yes.
Completely agree. I especially like in the last week, Susan is killing it.
Susan,
Yeah.
Georgiana,
delighted
Otis.
her.
Yeah.
I was a little sad that we didn't see more resolution between Otis and Georgiana this
too.
week. I do have to say that.
Yeah.
And I'm missing a little bit that like best friend interaction between Georgiana and Charlotte because like to me that's such a fun central part of the
Yes.
show is like female friendships.
But Georgiana's grieving, so
Yes.
she's in bed.
Yes.
Or trying to be in bed.
Until
Trying,
Arthur's
right.
like, hey girl, let's
Right.
go.
Come on out. Yeah.
So hopefully we'll get that next week
Indeed.
for the final episode.
Oh my god, I can't handle it.
I'm not going to say anything.
Well, thank you again, everybody, for joining us this week for Drama After Dark, and we will see you again next week for episode 8. Bye. Have a good week. Bye.